today?
Good.
Did you make it okay? I see it's...
Yeah, I live pretty close, so I just walked. It wasn't too bad.
That's really nice that you live so close. It's a good area.
Yeah.
So I just want to just briefly touch base about what happened last week in here, and then talk about where we're going to go today. See if you have any questions, and then we'll jump right in.
Okay.
Sound good?
Yeah.
All right, so last week we did the intake process. Remember you signed the confidentiality agreement. Did you have any questions about that this week?
No, it was pretty easy to understand.
Easy? Okay, got it. And then I took down a lot of basic information, kind of, your occupation, your living status. Has any of that changed?
I'm still not employed, but nothing else has changed. I'm still just kind of by myself doing my own thing, trying to find work. So.
Okay. So we'll get into some stuff that can definitely help you find the right path to take. So don't worry about that just yet. And yeah, we did a few different questions, just basic life, your mood, and your friendships and all that kind of stuff. So has everything for the most part stayed the same as far as your mood goes, and your friendships at home, and kind of the staying up late at night?
Yeah, it's been the same type of routine. I've tried to, like I said last week, I really want some relationships in my life. I really want friendship, and so I've been trying to be more outgoing, but I'm not very successful, I feel like, at that, and it's been kind of a hard week for that reason, but my mood's been fine, and I'm feeling pretty good today, and so yeah.
So let's talk about your week a little bit. You said it's been kind of a hard week because you've been trying to kind of get back out there and get some more social stimulation in your life. What kinds of things were you doing?
Mostly going to different bars and pubs. When I was in high school with my buddies, we'd sneak into some places, and that's when I was most successful at doing things and having fun and meeting girls and stuff. And then ever since I broke up with my girlfriend in high school, I haven't really had a steady relationship. So I've been trying to meet females that would be open to having a relationship, and all I really know to do is go to bars and pubs and try to get to know different people and make a few friends. Yeah.
Okay, so you've been doing that this week?
Yeah, I did it twice this week. Yeah.
So, have you met anybody?
Nah.
Not this week. Okay. Would you say you had a fun time? Did you enjoy doing those things, or did you regret it at all?
Not really. I didn't really have fun or not fun when I was at the bars. I just really wish that it would have been a better experience for me, I guess.
And what would that experience look like? Just
get a girl's number, maybe take her out for a drink, or even just meet somebody to talk to. I was kind of by myself most of the night and just kind of sitting there by myself. So it would have been if it worked out the way I wanted it to be, I would have met a few people, maybe bought a girl a beer. If I was lucky, take her home, get a number or something. I don't know, but it's just been so long. I'm kind of nervous around that kind of situation.
So you said that those experiences were a little bit indifferent for you. They could have gone better, but they didn't go as bad as they could have. Am I right?
Yeah.
So can you think of an event or two maybe that happened this week that was positive? And you can take your time, write it down if you need.
Yeah, I'll write things down. Okay, I got two
Okay.
experiences.
Tell me about it if you're comfortable sharing.
Yeah, the first one, there's this place in my town. It's called the Punch Bowls, and people go up there, and it's like a big hike, and they have some like watering holes there you can go swim. So I was feeling kind of down one day, so I decided to, since I don't work, I have all the time in the world to do whatever I want. So I just decided to grab my guitar and hike up to the Punch Bowls, and I just sat there and played the guitar as people walked by and stuff, and actually was able, a lot of people thinks it's not common for someone to be playing, the guitar at the Punch Bowl, so a lot of people talked to me, and it was pretty neat to get some social interaction, I'd say, and help lift my mood a little bit from that morning, and I even learned a new song for it, so that was pretty cool too. I got to practice a little bit of the new song that I learned, and so it was pretty cool. And the second one was just going to the bars this week, getting out of the house a little bit, and just trying to stay more busy.
That's really great to hear that you had a good time at the swimming hole. So you said you talked to some people.
Mm-hmm.
Did you make any connections? Like, did you exchange numbers at all?
No, it was mainly like groups of people. So it would be like, if it was like a group of 5 people, only like 1 or 2 of them would actually be talking to me. The rest were kind of standing around, but most of them were like other guitar players and stuff like that. So it was cool. I didn't get any like numbers or anything, but for how the week went, it was definitely one of the peaks of my week, just being able to get out of the house. And I love the outdoors, I love nature, so it was cool to be out in nature.
And would you say you feel comfortable playing guitar around others?
Yeah, I've never really been like one to play on like a stage, or like I'll play for friends, or I'll play for in high school my mom always wanted me to play songs for her, but I've never really played in front of other people like professionally or anything. But I've definitely, like instances like this where I'll go on a hike, or I'll go to the park, or back home I'd go to like the beach and I'd play guitar for a long time. It was fun.
Good. Well, that's really great to hear. Maybe that's something that we can talk about a little later, and maybe incorporate into your goals for treatment, if that's something you'd be willing to work on.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool. I mean, it's something I really like doing, and I think it's easy to interact with people when I'm doing it. So.
Awesome. So, for the rest of the session, we're going to focus on, if you're comfortable sharing, maybe a few negative events that could have happened this week. And that could be anything from just having a low mood, or something someone said to you that made you upset, or just an internal thought. It could really be anything, but I'll ask that you can try and be as specific as you can, whatever you're comfortable sharing. And we're going to try and use a type of therapy called dialectical behavioral therapy to help kind of notice what, when these negative situations happen, what goes through your mind, and maybe take a potential stab at preventing them in the future. And I'll explain a little bit more about the type of therapy and the exercise that we're going to do when we get there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that works.
Okay. So if you feel comfortable, could you please think about maybe one or two things that happened this week that struck you in a negative way or made you feel a lower mood than normal baseline for you?
Okay.
And you can take your time, write them down if you need.
Okay.
If that'll help you remember. I've got a new piece of paper if you'd like.
Oh, that's cool. I'll just jot
Okay.
it down right here. Okay, I have two.
Okay. Let's talk about them if you feel comfortable sharing.
Okay. They both happened at the bar. They were on different nights, though.
Okay.
The first one was I was kind of in a bad mood that day. I was kind of having a rough day, like as far as mood goes. I was a little bit agitated, so I was just trying to relax a little bit. And I saw this girl that I thought was pretty cute, and she was by herself, kind of like me. And I noticed that she wasn't really taking much attention, like, to any guys, or she wasn't really, like, looking around. She was just kind of sitting there by herself, doing whatever she wanted. And, like, the bar was really loud. Like, this one was last night, so, like, the Monday Night Football game was on, so, like, there was a lot of people cheering on. I can't remember who was playing. I think it was the Steelers. And so there's, like, loud and lots of commotion going on, and she was, like, the only one who, like, wasn't watching the game. So I was like, oh, like, this could be a cool, like, moment for me to meet somebody. So I, like, went over to talk to her, and I was kind of nervous, you know, like, I'm kind of shy when it comes to meeting people, especially recently. But I decided, you know, I want to try to talk to this girl. She's pretty cute. So I walked over to the bar, or to the table she was sitting at, and I asked her, hey, can I buy you a drink? And she just looked at me, and she didn't say anything back. And I was kind of confused. I didn't really know what that meant. And so then I thought, well, maybe she just didn't hear me. So I, like, looked at her again. I was like, hey, like, do you mind if I buy you a drink? And she was like, no, please don't talk to me. And so I just thought it was kind of rude. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm putting myself out there. I'm just trying to, you know, it looks like she's not having a very good time. I'm trying to, like, cheer her up, and, you know, it's a lot for me to, like, talk to somebody. So it was kind of shattered my confidence a little bit. Like, I finally, like, built up the courage to talk to her, and then she just kind of told me, like, no, I don't want to talk to you. And I thought it was pretty rude, so it pissed me off.
Why do you think she may have said that?
Maybe she doesn't like me. Like, she didn't think I was cute, or maybe she could tell that I was, like, a little bit, like, on it. Like, I was a little bit moody, maybe. Like, she could probably tell that I was a little off my, you know, my normal game, I guess. And you know, obviously, I think something was just, like, wrong with me. Maybe she didn't really like what I was wearing, or
Okay.
I don't know.
What kinds of things do you think you would present to others if you have a low mood, or if you're moody? What does moody look like to you?
Well, it's usually, like, I'm either pretty low, or I'm kind of, I wouldn't say depressed, but just, like, kind of just bummed out a little bit, or, like, opposite of that. Like, I can be pretty, like, energetic, but not, like, too over the top, just, like, have a lot of energy. But that day I was kind of, like, I had been pretty, like, normal, you know, and kind of like how I am today. Like, I'm just a little bit more, like like I have a little bit more energy, and so I'm like, things are more agitating to me than normal, and like, so like I'm sure she noticed that I was, like I'm sure she noticed when she was silent, like I was a little bit like agitated, like I needed to say it again or something, and she probably didn't like that much, but like I know I'm a good guy, like she would have had a good time with me, and like if she just gave me a chance, it would have been a good time.
Okay, so have you ever felt like this before about others?
Yeah.
How often do you come across this feeling that you have that you might be putting off feelings of agitation or moodiness to others?
Maybe like every couple months I'll have a couple days maybe where I just can't really seem to connect with somebody that I want to connect with, and now that I think about it, it's usually the days where I'm like a little bit more like up than down, if that makes sense. Yeah.
So, does this always happen when you're at the bar, or do you see it happening in other areas of your life, like maybe around your family or other strangers that you meet?
This is the first time I've been to the bar for a while, but it doesn't really happen a lot. Like, it usually happens when I'm giving like an effort, like if I'm trying to really be kind of more outgoing and like trying to stabilize my moods. Like if I'm feeling down, I'm like, okay, like I can't feel this way. I need to get out and do something. Or like I'm feeling kind of antsy and I'm like, okay, I need to like relax. I need to go do something that will like calm me down. It's usually when I'm trying to put forth an effort towards something, or like meeting someone if I really want to meet somebody but I'm scared, and so like I try to go the extra mile to like kind of get out of my shell a little bit. I feel like that's usually when these things happen. When I get kind of frustrated with other people, like not really not really giving me a chance, if that makes sense.
That definitely makes sense. And it's okay to feel like sometimes you're frustrated when you keep getting these weird feedbacks from people. It can be really frustrating, and it's okay. It's something that we can definitely work on. I'm wondering, do you feel like you don't want to go out and meet new people because of this negative feedback that they're giving you? Like, does it discourage you from doing this kind of behavior in the future?
I haven't really thought of that. I wouldn't say it ever stops me. I don't really think of that while I'm trying to go out, while I'm trying to meet somebody, but it almost always like sparks my memory when it happens. Like for example, like this girl at the bar, like when she did that and I went back and sat down, I just started thinking of all the other times like similar things have happened, and then so it kind of just started making me fume a little bit, because it just reminded me of like all the other times that I've tried hard to like kind of get out of there, but then they haven't gone right.
Does it affect your mood after the situation? Do you feel low for a period of time?
I didn't feel low. I felt kind of higher after that. Like I was like even more antsy. Like I actually went on a run last night, and it was like you remember last night, it was cold, like it was snowy, and like I was just like amped up and kind of like flustered a little bit. So I just felt this like need to move, and so I just went out of my house and ran around the block like I don't even know, like 10 times or something. And I was like I just like needed to release some of this energy that I was feeling, kind of like this like a horse race that's like at the gate, like ready to go. Like that's how I felt when I left the bar.
Were you you prepared for the cold? It was really cold last night. Were you wearing a jacket, or did you find yourself out in the cold, remembering that it?
Well, I was running, so like I didn't even
You
feel
felt
nothing. Yeah, I was just going. Like it didn't even occur to me. Like when I got back home, I was kind of just like I was fun. Like I realized I was kind of cold, but it didn't even occur to me that it was snowing. I was just going. Like I just wanted to go.
Yeah, I'm just making sure that you're taking care of yourself, because I really do care about you and I want you to be safe when, especially it's this cold out and you're outside at night. And just going off of that, are you feeling okay? Are you feeling like you might be in a darker place than usual at all this past week? Or have things kind of stayed the same in that area as well?
It's kind of normal.
Normal.
Yeah, it's kind of been, I've definitely had darker times, but I've definitely had better times, but like this is probably a normal week for me, like I tend to do things on my own. I don't mind doing things on my own, I just I just want to have other people involved in my life, and sometimes these moods like affect me being able to do that, but that's kind of normal. It happens like every couple months where I'm just kind of thrown off my normal game,
So we talked about what normal looks like last week in terms of thoughts about death. That you said that you often think about death in a philosophical way, but you wouldn't consider carrying out those emotions on yourself.
No.
Is that still?
Yeah, I would never do anything like that.
Okay.
I'm a pretty philosophical person. I like thinking deeply about things, so like I definitely thought about what that would be like, but I've never even thought about doing it for reals,
So when you're really up and you have so much energy and you don't know what to do with it sometimes, the horse at the gate, have you ever thought about what it might feel like to take that out on others?
Like hurt them?
Did you get mad at
Actually,
that girl?
Well, not that girl, but like my second experience that I wanted to talk about, like that almost happened then.
Okay.
I was at the bar, it wasn't last night, it was like, I think it was Thursday night or something like that. And I got really mad because like there was this guy and he was with his girlfriend or girl or whatever. I don't know if they were together. Like he never specified, or I didn't even talk to them. I don't know how they would have specified, but I was just like sitting there and I was watching because this girl was pretty cute, but he was being a complete ass. Like he was being a jerk to her, and he kept like calling her names and she like wanted an extra beer, and he was like, no, like you can't like afford to gain weight, like you're getting tough. And she was like a skinny, like good looking girl, and like he was so rude to her, and like I was mad, like I was getting angry because I'm like, dude, like I'm like somebody who wants, some sort of relationship. Like I know I treat like anyone really good, and like I just want connection in my life, and like here's a guy who does have connection and is like totally ruining it and like totally doing it wrong. And like I felt bad for the girl, like cause her girlfriend her boyfriend was being a complete, J-hole, and like here I was like by myself, and so like I got like angry, and I never like confronted him, but I wanted to be like, hey man, like don't talk to her like that, like that's messed up. And I wanted to hit him, like he was being he was being really rude and really mean to her, and she didn't deserve any of that stuff. Like she didn't do it, like she wasn't dressed provocatively, like she wasn't asking for anything, and he was like just being a douchebag, and it was just really making me mad. So in that instance, yeah, like I wanted to like use some of my amped up energy against him, but like that rarely happens. It's usually just like when people do things that make me angry, like I didn't want to hit that girl that like told me no, but like if somebody does something mean to me that like, not mean to me, but like mean to somebody else that I think is just really rude, like then I want to get kind of physical, like with that guy. if somebody was mean to like an elderly person, like I'd be really pissed off, and yeah, like defending someone, you know what I mean?
Yeah, would you say your urges to like maybe put people in their place when they're putting innocent people at risk?
Yeah,
Yeah, just mitigating situations.
yeah, I think that's exactly, like, that's a perfect way to describe it, yeah.
Okay, well, that's very normal, and it's not something that, you know, I would need to report or need to be extremely concerned about. It's normal to want to help these innocent people that you think might be at risk of others. And I will say that using your physical force is not always the best option, and there are a lot of other avenues that you could take, but as of right now, I would just advise against using your physical force against anybody else. Just remember the implications that might have. And that's something that we can definitely talk about right now. We can use this exercise to kind of think about that if you'd like, if you're interested.
Yeah, you're the boss.
Okay, all right, so let's start with this idea of dialectical behavioral therapy. It is a mindfulness approach, which I thought would be good for us to try because you are so intellectual and it's very impressive, and I think that's something that you can use to your benefit in the real world. So I know that you're very philosophical and you love to read and study. So it's my hope that maybe we can work on this technique to have you use those skills that you have to think about some other areas of your life that you're experiencing some problems in. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you familiar with a Venn diagram?
Mm-hmm.
Could you draw one for me if you're
Yeah.
comfortable? There's 2 different colors if you'd like.
That's
2 circles
That's what I know.
with some room in the middle.
Okay. Like you want them to overlap or no?
Yes, overlap
Okay.
if you can.
And I need to use the other color for the other one?
Yeah, if you could, that would be great.
Cool.
Okay, so we're going to use these circles to think about the intellectual side of things, the emotional side of things, and then we're going to meet in the middle. So if you could write emotion on this side. And then on this side, if you could write evidence or beliefs.
Beliefs is shorter.
Okay.
You guys spelled that wrong, but whatever.
And then in the middle, you don't have to go crazy with the colors if you want, but we're gonna write Y's.
Wise?
Yeah, like
W-H-Y.
W-I-S-E. It's W-I-S-E, like you are
Oh,
wiser
wise.
now. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
So actually, if you want to think about this in terms of whys, W-H-Y-S, I know, stop me if this gets confusing. We can think about the whys in that sense under beliefs. So why are we feeling these emotions? Could you think of a philosophical reason why somebody hypothetically might be thinking these things? So that's just a way that we can think about the belief side.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
And then,
totally.
emotions, it might be a little more difficult to kind of pull out because sometimes it's not that easy for us to get on paper exactly what we are feeling in a certain moment. But let's just try and do the best that we can, and I'll help you, and we'll talk about some stuff later.
Okay.
So let's try and jot down some emotions. Maybe I want to hurt that guy in the bar, or some things that you feel when you're low.
Okay.
And for example, these people don't want to talk to me because I'm moody. Just your base, like the how you get worked up. So if you want to take a minute, I can help you. We can talk through some examples before you write it down. You can use your pen if you need more room.
So just like emotions that I feel when I'm feeling like in those certain situations?
Yeah, in those situations. So maybe just a word or two about the situation, like girl at the bar, and then moody. Like she thinks I'm moody.
Gotcha, okay.
So anything that has to do with emotion, let's just get it on the paper and then we'll talk about it later when we talk about beliefs. So you don't have to spell everything right, and you don't need a lot of examples. We
Okay.
can just start there.
Yeah, those are the two big ones.
Okay, so the emotion side of things is the girl at the bar thinks that you're moody. Is that correct?
Yeah. I
So
guess.
let's try and think about maybe why she might think you're moody. Like what kind of evidence do we have to say that? Like what kinds of actions were you taking, and why might a stranger think that any person is moody? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
So for like being moody, like I was sitting by myself, like kind of like this, like just kind of slumped down in the bar.
okay, so sitting by yourself.
I probably looked kind of bummed out.
Okay, looked bummed out, facial expressions, posture even.
Yeah, now that I think about it, like I probably didn't look happy, like when I was asking her for a number. Like I was probably just like, hey, like, you want a beer? Instead of being like, hey, like, I wasn't smiling or anything.
Okay, those are all really great examples. And thank you so much for sharing. And so how about the second thing that you wrote down?
So this is like why I was feeling restraint and anger and stuff.
Restraint and anger.
The dude was an asshole.
Okay, dude was an asshole. Write it down. That's a perfectly good reason why you could be angry at somebody. We are all angry when somebody's being an asshole. So you think about intellectually what stems anger. And so now why might somebody want to retaliate against assholes? Is it like
They might want to protect the person that they're being mean to.
okay,
Like,
that's a good thing to write down.
so put it right here.
Yeah. So evidence for
Protection.
Okay, so we can start there, and now what we're gonna do is come together and rationalize our feelings here. So we know what you felt, we know that you got angry, and we know that you were feeling moody. We saw this on this side, that's where you wrote it down, right? And now on this side, we know why. And that's really important to know, because if we don't know ourselves, it's really hard to know how to talk to others in life. So you don't have to write anything in the middle right now, but I do want you to think about how others might want to be approached, and how you could work on maybe avoiding some of these feelings so that you feel more confident approaching others. So if you remember why you're feeling moody or why you're feeling angry, it might make sense to like try a different situation. Like for example, when you went to the swimming hole and you weren't feeling angry at anybody or moody, maybe we could start in that scene to look for, or at least practice talking with others. So maybe let's right in the middle, try reaching out outside of the bars. And that's really great that you were able to come up with some really good examples. I would encourage you to keep thinking about this idea over the next week.
Okay.
We've got about 10 minutes left. So I'd like to talk about some ways that we can start at the very basic level to kind of help you notice what's going on in your life. Would you be comfortable, or do you have access to a journal or a notebook, just anything that you could maybe carry with you, or
Yeah, I
even
got,
just,
I got a notebook, yeah.
You've got a notebook? I think it would be a really good idea for you to, when you're feeling these emotions, like you're moody or you're angry, and you feel like you need to just release so much energy before you go on a run or other activities that you might do to get that energy out, if you could just jot down the situation. You don't have to say details, you don't have to name names, just when you were feeling moody or any other emotion that comes to mind, and who you were with, just kind of what happened. Would you be comfortable in doing that?
Yeah, I can do that.
So let's try and maybe at least just do one this week if something comes up. And then on the other side of that, it's really important to notice the good things that are happening. So if you're feeling excited and you're feeling happy, you have some good energy that came into your day, write it down and see what kinds of situations that you are in. And then what we'll do next week, or even if you feel ready to do this week, try and remember the middle of this. So start where the emotions came from, start with the evidence, why they're there, and then try and maybe meet in the middle a little bit. Okay, what can I do to help both sides on the positive end of things? Does that all make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any questions about what we talked about today, the Venn diagram, or kind of what we're looking at before next week?
No, I think it was pretty, understandable. So pretty
Okay.
clear. Yeah.
So let's try and journal this week, and also if you have access to going back to that swimming hole, that was a really positive thing in your week. I could tell you just lit up when you talked about it. So if you have the means to go play your guitar back at the swimming hole, or if you could even play your guitar in a park by your house, or even just outside on your porch if the weather, clears up at all, I think that would really help you notice your positive emotions coming into your life. So maybe you could just try playing your guitar as much as you can.
Okay.
If it's something you really care about, practice that new song. Maybe learn another one. It'll give you something to do and something to be happy about.
Okay, yeah, sounds great.
Okay. Well, as long as you don't have any other questions, we'll be done for the day.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Well, it was really nice to see you again, and I hope that you get home safe or take it slow out there. And next time we'll meet at the same time,
Okay,
if
Yeah.
that still works for you.
yeah, that's perfect.
Okay. Well, have a good day.
Yep,
Yeah.
good to see you.
You too.
Cool.